ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, and thank you so much for your patience. So sorry for the delay. We're going to have a next panel discussion, the topic being Decoding Beauty and Personal Care, Disruptors discussing the massive opportunity the category has to offer. I would like to invite on stage our moderator for this session, none other than Mr. Sameer Kothari, MD Vanity Case Group of Companies. I must say he has a big fan following out here. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for none other than Alok, Kamat, partner Maxima Solutions. Give it up for him, please. Our next panelist is none other than Mr. Puneet Chopra, MD Glint Cosmetics. Can we have a huge round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen? Our next panelist joining them on stage is Sameer Shaikh, Regional Head, Buying and Merchandising, Bigbasket. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for these gentlemen out here. Sameer, over to you.
Thank you, and once again, apologies for keeping all of you waiting. Before we even start this discussion, I have to do one thing which is going to be embarrassing for Alok, but still. In the audience today, there's a gentleman who, in my mind, has been the father of beauty, cosmetics, personal care products, contract manufacturing. And I want to take just a couple of minutes to call him here and say hello to him. So, Kamat Sahab, if you don't mind.
Thank you so much.
No, so please. Given that this is a contract manufacturing and private label association and organization, I think it would be worthwhile for every one of us if you can just give us a couple of minutes, Kamat Sahab, to tell us, we will talk about the future, and the future is this gentleman who's Kamat Sahab's son. But before we talk about the future, it's always better to talk about the past. And Kamat Sahab has actually seen this industry right from the times when cosmetics were being imported into the country. We did not have anything in terms of manufacturing capability, etc. And he's been responsible for that. So Kamat Sahab, 2 minutes, just about how things have changed in the last, 50 years now?
35.
35. So,
For me.
for you. Okay. To give everyone a little bit of background, Kamat Sahab is a professional and he started doing contract manufacturing 1985. Started with a company, started with 3 or 4 companies, I think. Karishma Cosmetics, Aeropharma, and he's been involved in doing a bunch of things. I'll let him talk about it.
Well, Sameer, well, it's a great honor. Again, I'm taken aback and it's also a surprise. Well, friends, I'll try to do my best, as Sameer has asked me, to summarize how this industry has grown. And to be very frank, yes, I mean, there are veterans who have been manufacturing cosmetics even before we did, but we could say the contract manufacturing sphere started somewhere in the 80s. Sameer is very silent. His father was one of the other pioneers. He was known as the king of talcum powder manufacture. So yes, those were the days, but that was mainly contract manufacturing, and there were very few people who were involved into, as you see now, what's known as private label or own brands. Well, I guess whatever the old we in our generation did as contract manufacturing must have done something decent, something okay for the generation next to feel confident that yes, there is a place in this market and you could venture into something new. So that's how you're seeing today the market that was just manufacturing for a few brands. You have innumerous brands. I couldn't have dreamt to see a CMPL of this size here which shows that there's a great potential, and the potential is in the future, like leaders like Samir. Oh,
Kamat sahab, thank you very much. But of course, of course, of course, of course. So, thank you very much, Kamat sahab. Thank you. I guess it's apt that I start the discussion now with Alok, now that his father has spoken about it. So, Alok, no. So, Alok, your father, Mr. Kamat, gave some historical background about the beauty and personal care industry. And now you yourself have been associated with the industry, I think, for quite a few years. So, when they talk about, it's such a large topic, right? Decoding beauty and personal care. I mean, what exactly are we talking about? What do you mean by beauty and personal care, and what are we decoding here? Obviously, there's a huge shift in the industry. So if you want to just tell us 2 or 3 main things that you think have changed in the last few years, which have led to this huge explosion of opportunity that Kamat sahab was talking about.
Sure. So thank you, and thank you everyone for waiting patiently once again. So the answer that I brings to my mind for your question, Samir, is one is curiosity, the other one is being passionate, and the third one is listening. So these 3 key words are what is decoding in today's industry. I'm not going to be only curtailing this 3 words into an industry of only beauty or personal care. It could be fashion, it could be food, it could be anything. And I guess these 3 words are where the audience wants to kind of, which is the consumer, wants to kind of know more. And that is what contract manufacturing people like us are listening. So that's what is, I guess, changing in the overall ecosystem of this society that we are in, where gone are the days where one brand or one product used to be the pioneer, and now, because curiosity is the main thing, passion. So there are brands which coming up with some idea, and I guess great people like us sitting here would be the ones who are listening to them. So listening becomes a very important criteria, which helps the audience to kind of also understand that, hey, there is someone who I can go and toss my ideas around and get a product which is a real product, and then kind of give something new to the industry.
So I think listening is something that the gentleman sitting on the far right, Mr. Samir Shaikh, is an expert on. Just to give the background, Samir is at Bigbasket, and they listen digitally. So which means everyone who's buying anything digitally, they are listening to you, trying to make sense of their choices. So what do you think about what Alok just said?
I totally agree with him. The only part is that he has spoken from a back-end point of view, right? And I'll be speaking from more of a retailer's point of view. So one is the back-end strength we can see in the event also today over here, wherein 50 to 60% are into beauty and cosmetics and makeup category and personal care category, which shows that how strengthened we are in terms of entire back-end thing. From a front-end point of view, all these cosmetic, makeup, and private label and personal hygiene is a extension of the retailer's positioning in the market, right? Now, if you talk about Bigbasket, how we are positioned in the market as the biggest grocery online player with the largest assortment and all, right? Similarly, for other, they have their positioning in the market. So once you launch any products in these categories per se, it should be extension of their own position, right? For example, Nykaa has done a very good job in their private label, okay? Because they have extended to their own portfolio, right? For us to do that thing, we need to create that market for us first. We initially had a beauty and personal care as a category. Then we thought that our customers need more preferential treatment over here. So we started a beauty store, which is a shop wherein inside the shop kind of a thing. And wherein customer comes, they know that all the grooming thing, personal care thing, they'll get into the beauty store. Now we are trying to strengthen that as a market, because once we create a platform for customers to come, then we can use the backend strength and utilize them for building a private label for us. Because once you create a market, then only you can have a loyal customer base. And once a loyal customer base is there, then the brand eventually gets built. This is what my take would be from a retailer's point of view.
Sure. Puneetji, you've been in the industry for long enough as well. And before we even get into the changes which are coming, is there, I mean, of course, listening, digital is one factor. But frankly, people of my age, at least, for us, personal care was basically soaps, and that's about it, right? Talcum powder, absolutely. So I think the definition of beauty and personal care, beauty for a lot of women who would not say that they're old, but let's say the older women would be a lipstick, and that's about it, maybe a compact. I think the product range which is available for the customers has increased, and the customers are also demanding a lot more. So what do you think, has that led to an increase in the size of the BPC market?
Yeah, absolutely true. I agree with you. Over the last so many years, like you said, in the early 80s or the late 70s, people would associate cosmetics with either a soap or a talcum powder, or probably there was nothing called toiletries. I mean, these were the products which were available for the general people, and they would call them cosmetics. Over the years, the cosmetic market has evolved. Like we started business in 1982, and shampoos was the only product that probably people would talk about as cosmetics. But over the years, there are so many products, so many innovative products that have come into the market. That's because of the, like what he said, curiosity. The people have started becoming more curious. They've started demanding. They have started becoming more confident. And this confidence has led to consciousness, improve in your looks. You want to look better. You want to look more presentable. And the gamut of products has increased over the last so many years. You see so many cosmetic manufacturers. Now, manufacturers like us have a job to do. Earlier, we used to spend years and years researching a product, but today we have to adapt ourselves to developing products very fast. You have to have a kitty of products ready to offer to the D2C companies, because they are always asking for something new, something innovative, something which is like in color cosmetics, you must be all the time bombarded with ideas. People would come to you for
I look like a joker in office sometimes. So because I end up wearing all my color cosmetic products. And my dear friend Akanksha, she is here. She is an evident, I would say, someone who can agree.
So
Sorry to cut you.
So like he must be having at least 500 colors of nail polishes or lipsticks. So that's the amount of range people today demand. The same goes with the hair care, skincare segment as well. This is also an opportunity for manufacturers like us, because a lot of newer companies, new age companies are coming to us, and we see these companies growing in 3 years, 5 years to numbers that probably we've grown over the last 30 years, 40 years. So this is probably the right space to be in today. We are all happy.
Samir, just to add on this part, so he said that customer behavior is changing. After this social media influencer thing which has happened, right? And we have seen a lot of conversion in terms of search on our platform. Like we can say which color of nail paint is doing good in which region, which hair oil or shampoo is doing good in some region. And we have experimented a lot in those regions based on these searches. So we have utilized all those digital search and footprints to identify where there are opportunities.
So my job here is to try and create some disagreement, right, as I mentioned earlier. So explain this to me, and I'd be happy to give each of you a chance to talk about this. So everyone talks about the new age customer, everyone talks about new innovation, etc. In a country like India, where we have 1.4 billion people, right? And there's a lot of people who still do not have access to basic personal care products or basic beauty products. And there's this huge population which is demanding now for some product as simple as a compact or a lipstick. When you look at the market size, would you rather attack the larger market, which is at the bottom of the pyramid, or would you rather go into the niche categories of these new age D2C brands that we are talking about? And I'm guessing this is, so just a personal anecdote here. Mr. Sanjeev Mehta of Unilever was asked a similar question. And I'm just giving you some food for thought. And his answer to this question was that I'm a 50,000 crore company. I grow at 10% every year, which is 5,000 crores. And all the D2C brands put together do not account for that kind of turnover. So what do you think? What is the massive opportunity? The massive opportunity is the D2C brands, the new age, innovation, etc. I know that Alok has, in one of his recent LinkedIn posts, he talks about sustainability, he talks about gender fluidity, or is it this big chunk of Indian population which is just beginning to use beauty and personal care? So, Puneetji, if you want to start.
Yeah. No, what has happened earlier, people used to experiment or make products and launch them in the A category, that is probably the metros, probably Bombay, Delhi, and Bangalore. But these D2C companies have come and they have gone to the tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities. And there is a larger audience sitting in these tier 2, tier 3 cities who earlier used to only see value in the product. They used to see whether the product is good in quality or has the right price point. But the trends are changing. Now the audience is willing to experiment, is willing to try out newer products. And that's why these D2C companies are also not scared to introduce newer concepts, newer products on their marketplaces. So the consciousness is increasing. At the same time, a lot of newer products are coming into the market. And now the marketplace has opened up. It's evolving every day.
So in your opinion, it's the D2C and the new age customers, which is a larger opportunity than going after the traditional customers who are just beginning to use a lipstick or a compact?
Yeah, that's what I said, that the D2C companies are offering so many innovative concepts, innovative types, innovative products, that the customer is wanting to try out newer things all the time. And since there is such a wide choice in the market, so these companies are also eager to put in more products, to put in more conceptual products into the market. Whereas the levers and the P&Gs would more concentrate more on the general products.
Sure. Again, I'm going to try and play the devil's advocate here, but maybe, Samir, you'll help me out. Here's a customer in Narangao, where I come from, right, who's never used a shower gel, right? And suddenly she has access to shower gel on one of the digital e-commerce companies. And here's another customer who's Alok's wife, very woke, and is using shower gels for the last so many years. And she decides she wants to use a shower gel made of coffee beans. She has been using another shower gel. She decides to use this. Which is a bigger segment?
I think the first one from a retailer's point of view. See, for a retailer point of view, private label is more initially is from profitability point of view. There should be profit coming out of that brand, right? Anything else is just a marketing gimmick or just a activity which we are just trying to do, innovate things or create a market or kind of a thing. But the first thing is profitability, and profitability comes where you find good volumes so that we can meet the MOQ, right? if that is not there, I don't think from a retailer's point of view we will experiment. There might be small brands who can do it, they can experiment and create a market. But from a retailer's point of view, e-commerce point of view, I think we'll go for a mass product. I'll give you one nice example for food. So, sliced cheese, right? Mother Dairy was a brand who initiated, Britannia was the brand who initiated the sliced cheese in the market in India. And initially there was a lot of challenges, a lot of losses, a lot of write-offs which both retailers and the brand had faced. Amul was silent at that time. They said, let them create a market. Today, Amul is the leader in sliced cheese, right? So eventually that will happen. So a lot of small brands might become big. So Wow has become very big now. Though they started with very niche category, but they have become very big now. Similarly, there are a lot of such brands who have become very big with a niche category. Now, by the time they become from niche to become big, if any other retailer catch the market and do the private label, they will get the chance of exploring the market. Otherwise, from a retailer's perspective, profitability is a thing, and we'll go with the mass customers.
Mr. Kamat?
For me, it's very simple. D2C brands, of course, are someone who basically have the youthness in them. They're young, they're thinkers. And as I said, my first three things, they listen not to the vendors, they listen more to the customers, and they challenge the vendors. They are passionate and they are curious. So for me, I feel with the age-old brands who have been in the industry, who has the bottom pyramid of India in their distribution control, I would call that experience. So if experience meets the youth, magic will happen. And by that, what I mean is both these segments are equally very, very lucrative. But if, what Samir said, if penetration is the key, because that is what it is for India as well, perfect example for Wow, even Mamaearth today, what they started, or rather Bombay Shaving Company, what they started versus where they are today. They are not, they are omni-channel. They are not only online. They are not only on a mom and pop store under your house. So the future is definitely going to be that. And hence I said, various companies are working on models where they would like to bring their experience with the youthness that the world is seeing because of D2C being very, very prominent in India. And as I said, it's in all categories, whether it's in textile, whether it's in footwear, you work in multiple other categories as well. So I'm sure innovation is something that drives. So yeah, experience coming with youth will be the magic for the industry.
Sure, the question is penetration, right? So as I said earlier, 1.4 billion people, and if the per capita usage of shampoo or the per capita usage of face wash is ridiculously low right now, who's the one who's going to drive this base to increase? Is it going to be the D2C companies? Is it going to be the retailers? Is it going to be the traditional brands? How does the industry increase the overall usage and as a result increase the size of the BPC market? And just a small request, we're not talking of any specific brands, right? So we're not talking of the Wows or the Mamaearths or the BSEs, etc. It's more of a generic question, which is that let's talk about shaving creams. If you're talking about shaving creams and you're talking about the penetration of shaving creams in the country, the penetration of shaving cream is a very, very large segment already. So if the penetration is very high, you probably need to innovate to get new customers. But let's take the case of a face wash. We know that even the penetration of face wash and shower gel in the country is very low. And if it's very low, what does the industry, what does the brand, what does the retailer, what does the manufacturer do to increase and unlock this size? That's the bigger question here.
So I would like to take one more niche product, adult diapers. I was just interacting with one of the brands over here. And for us, it's a very niche category. Okay, so we have selective brands which we are selling and all. And getting into private label, from my understanding, we should not do it because the volume itself is low. But as per him, the industry itself is growing at 300%. I'm not aware about it. I'm in my company, what we was sale, it's not visible to us.
You're the one who has insights on everything.
So I think it's more of an amalgamation between both the parties over here, because this information wouldn't have come to me if I wouldn't have interacted with them. And if somebody else is doing it and growing at 300%, I think I'm lacking behind them, right? And this information sharing and knowledge sharing is very important for the industry to grow, right? If somebody is growing at 300%, even if I go at 50% or 60 or 100%, the industry eventually will start growing. Like you said, if the face wash and other categories are not big enough now, and if one retailer itself is able to explore it and give some sigh of relief, that there's a scope, okay? I don't think any retailer wouldn't mind exploring it, right? Adult diaper, after listening to him, I think I'll explore it.
So you'll explore it from the possibility of launching private labels. My question is, how will you help increase the size of the market? So retailers play a very big role in getting the product to the customer. Retailers, especially the modern retailers as well as e-commerce guys, also are spending a lot of money to get those customers in. So how do we get these customers to come in, search for a face wash, either on e-commerce or on the store, buy, whether it's a new age face wash or a traditional brand, just overall increase the size of the BPC market? That's the question we're trying to address.
I think retailer has to work over here completely, because until as we create demand for it, only by production it won't create that much demand, right? Unless you flood the entire market of GT, MT and e-commerce and do consistently ad on social media and television, only then the market will get created. Otherwise, I think retailer have to work on it and create a market to give enough volume so that it's beneficial for everybody. Otherwise, it will be very difficult.
So speaking of volumes, Puneet ji, how do you handle that in your factories? I mean, I think we talked about innovation, we talked about, Alok was talking about listening. So automatically when you talk about listening to the customer will probably make demands which are idiosyncratic to that customer, which by definition means that the MOQs will not be met, because the number of people who want Mera Wala pink as far as the lipstick is concerned, or a coffee bean extract face wash may not be as large. So how do you deal with that in your factories?
So now this was happening all the time. Until a few years back, we are mostly into the export business, and our MOQs used to be at least 140 feet container. But that means we were talking of at least 50,000 to 75,000 per variant. And we were quite happy because we were getting the sort of customer. But we've been brought to our senses during this lockdown. And now when during the pandemic, when exports was shut for a couple of months, and we had to run the show because we had 400 people to feed. So we started accepting everything, and we suddenly saw a surge of all these customers coming with requirements for 500 pieces, 1,000 pieces, and 40 products at a time. And we thought that let's give it a go. And but the big challenge was, how do we manage it? Because the plant sizes aren't small. Any plant is about 3 tons. So how do we manage that? And today we have plant sizes of 25 kgs also in my factory. That's because you have to also evolve. We've also to cater to these customers, and you have to also maintain your standards. There has to be that stability. There has to be the sort of quality that has to go into the product. So today we manufacture sachets as low as 1 gram, and creams and shampoos which are small in numbers, which are 25 kgs as well, because these D2C companies don't come with big volumes. They come with a range, and they always promise that they'll become big, and we have seen, we started with MyGlam with few pieces, and today they're placing orders of 5 lakh units per SKU. So they've become big over the last couple of years. So we've also become serious now. We've also started catering to these small, so to call smaller brands. But we see that at the end of the day, they are also going to become big because they're all serious players. They're all from the industry. They've all studied the product. They've all studied the industry well, and they are here to stay.
So, I think he has said a very valid point, because I think if they are doing it, being a big player and managing the bigger load so that the profitability for them is maintained, and eventually supporting the smaller players so that the new markets gets evolved and new brands get involved and new customer base created, I think they're doing a fantastic job on that. Yeah.
Like I had a customer sitting at my stall, Pilgrim. They're doing decent volumes, but they just asked me a question, what's your MOQ? I said, if I want a Pilgrim in my kitty, I'll start with 500 pieces.
Excellent. Alok, you of course deal with a lot of complexity in your factory, and you also, amongst all of us contract manufacturers, you are far ahead in terms of innovation and R&D, and you want to tell us how is that playing a role as far as increasing the size of the market is concerned?
Sure. So as Puneet said, it's very important that we need to be aware of what the customer wants today. During my father's generation, it was talking in tons. Now we talk in kgs, as what he exactly said. We talk in ये line आज कितने changeovers है ये line पर, which again brings us to the topic of what is it that we are going to be giving to the industry? How are we increasing this industry's market size? I feel the market size is pretty much the same. I'm very bad with numbers, and I requested Sameer, please numbers mat pooch yahan par, kuch bhi pooch, numbers mat pooch. But yeah, I think market size is something that is pretty much the same. But what I feel is the number of players have increased, because of which there is, I would say, every player has its own share to kind of give to the market. The other thing is innovation. Yes, innovation today is the key. Today we are sitting here in this fantastic Geo World Convention Center. It's an innovation for me as well that I'm sitting in this amazing venue. Product innovation always talks about something new that you want to give. But for me, whenever I'm talking to any new brand, I always say a lipstick is always going to be a lipstick, sir or madam. A shampoo is always going to be a shampoo. Let's talk about something which we are really going to be making a difference to the consumer in terms of their perception. Because it's more about the perception. It's about the first purchase. Then the product talks for itself. And then it's the repeat purchase which helps the market size grow. Number of brands, today we only celebrate the brands that have been amazingly successful in the market, but unfortunately we forget about those brands who probably wouldn't have reached that pyramid, where private equity or other big giants would have not been able to kind of identify them. But I would say it's a double-edged sword. Innovation is definitely needed, and that's where I said for us, I think curiosity is very, very important. We need to be curious while we can do our batches in tons, but we need to know what's the other side of the fence. So it's a combination of all of these which kind of plays a major role for both of us, I guess.
Alok, I have a question for you. So you talk about innovation and you talk about a lot of new customers, right? What happens when you have an idea and Kamat sir doesn't agree with that thing? Because I was very curious to ask you that question because of there's an age gap, right? So we know that, like for example, you want to launch a fluorescent nail paint.
Sameer, घर घर की कहानी है यार, क्यों यहाँ पे खोल रहा है?
No, I want to explore it. So how do you convince him, or eventually you get convinced by him? How does it happen? Because
the first time when he saw me wearing lipstick in my office, he was convinced. There was no questions asked up to that. The next, he saw me wearing some foundation and a couple of other products. And I'm talking about color cosmetics, not because I love color cosmetics, it's because that abhi cream lotion lagane ke baad wo dikhega to nahi. So obviously no one is going to ask me. But yeah. So, and fortunately, as I said, I was born in this family which had fantastic pedigree of being a technocrat. Usually a father always kind of tells his son, beta, ye dhanda hai apna, you got to pursue your chemistry background. I am a BSc Computer Science and Management Studies. So put me in front of any audience, I would love to speak. But put me in front of numbers or anything to do with chemistry, I'll run away. Having said that, I think I've answered your question. I think he was pretty much convinced. He was pretty much convinced that iske piche nahi jate hain, isko karne do jo karna hai.
Okay, good. So Alok, I'm not going to let you get off so easy of not talking about numbers, right? Because we're talking of this massive opportunity and we need to know how massive the opportunity is. So here's a hypothesis and I'm going to open it to you guys to tell me whether it's right or wrong. I think the BPC market, Alok just mentioned, it's not growing or it's the same. I think it is, right? If it is not growing and if it's a zero-sum game, then what we are saying is that the D2C brands are actually taking market share away from the traditional brands. On the other hand, if you're saying that the market size is improving and growing, in which case then you're getting to a situation where India as a country, the penetration is increasing, the market size is increasing, and of course you're also getting sophisticated customers who are demanding that much more. So which of the two is the right scenario? Puneet, you want to start?
Yeah, the customers have started demanding more. And we see that every day. I see that whenever a new customer comes to me, they want something different. They don't want a normal shower gel. They want a shower gel with an encapsulation. They want a perfume-free shower gel with perfume entrapped in the encapsulation. So yes, I see that all the time that we need to keep developing new and new products for these new customers.
Alok?
Can you repeat your question again?
Okay, so there are two scenarios, right? One scenario is that the BPC market in the country is stagnating and the market share between D2C brands and the traditional brands is what is causing by the innovation and by the digital media, etc. On the other hand, the other hypothesis is as a country is developing, as economics and the per capita income is increasing, people are beginning to spend more money on beauty and personal care, in which case the market size is improving, in which case the traditional brands will also see an increase in their sales. But there's also this group of people who are sophisticated and asking for more. I'm talking about end consumers. And as a result, you'll see market growing for both the innovation-led brands as well as the traditional brands. Which of these two scenarios is the right one?
The second one, I feel. Second one, and I know your question next would be why. So, as I said before, currently when I said when the market is not growing, I didn't mean that the D2C is not growing. It is growing, but I'm waiting for the day when, or rather, it is happening, and I'm seeing the trend happening where bigger brands are wanting to get themselves challenged and have something very similar in terms of replicating a success story. Because as I said, experience is there. D2C will always have the power of being youthful, the power of being creative, the power of being doing something very disruptive in the market. But does it last for long is something which is a big question mark, because D2C today, I feel, is pretty nascent still in India. It's not been for more than about 8-9 years that D2C has really picked up on a very high level. So I guess slowly when there is a consumer who is a user, so let me put it this way, a sindoor, today is, how many of us over here would say that a sindoor is a very, I would say, a need of the hour product, right? But it is today the kind of D2C companies who are also wanting to come into this category are there. So why? Because A, they want to ensure that they do have a product which is not only innovative, but it's also need of the hour for the bottom pyramid of the country, which is where the numbers are. And since they know that the brand is now established, the purchasing power of that particular product to the end consumer will become much more kind of, easy for them as compared to a coffee shower gel or a coffee face wash. So I guess the second hypothesis that you said would be more accurate.
Okay, so Samir is raring to go. So I'm going to let him take a shot at it, and then I'm going to come back to you, Alok.
Yeah. So I have a hypothesis on this. So the market size has increased, okay? the traditional brands have more or less stayed wherever they were, okay? The other brands which have got created in the market, okay, because of which the market size has increased, okay, they are not growing, but they have lost their share because the market size increased, because a lot of new brands came into picture, but they are there only where they were, right? Now, how these new brands got created, who are buying these brands, okay? The surplus income which has increased, okay, the income which is coming for all the age group, if you see over there, the surplus income has increased between the age group of 25 and 35, right? And these guys are not going to go for traditional brands. I'm telling you, I'm not going it, right? They want new brands and they want innovative brands. They want something which is something which is trending, right? So that they can relate to them. And that's how all these small brands which got created, Wow, Mama Earth, Nina Dodada, all these are very small brands when they initiated. And they were creating their own market. Market size kept on increasing because of these small brands. Today, if you search any e-commerce or any of the specialty stores for beauty and all, you'll see so many brands. Into one, for example, a serum, right? A night serum. You'll see at least more than 100 brands now. Okay, it was not the case before when the traditional market was there. Now, those guys who were there at that time, they thought, okay, we are the leader right now. There's not big space, so we'll work on these niche market itself. The entire tier 1 to tier 2 transition itself has become big because of the entire development which has happened in so many years, right? So the customer base has increased towards the new brands which has got created. That's the reason why the market size has increased, but the traditional brand where they were. This is what my hypothesis is.
So before I come back to you, Alok, on innovation. So explain this to me, that is the growth in the D2C brand because of the innovation? And if you agree that it is because of the innovation, what is preventing the traditional brands who have a much better R&D infrastructure from targeting these segments or these niches? And the second corollary to that question, which will be more relevant to the two of you, is does this shift the onus of innovation and R&D to the contract manufacturer, as opposed to a traditional environment where the brand owner did the R&D and they came to a manufacturer and expected the manufacturer to produce based on their requirements? So what is happening?
Yeah. One thing for sure is that today there is no brand loyalty. Today, the customer is willing to take a risk. At the same time, the manufacturers, the D2C brands as well, they are willing to take a risk. They are willing to launch new products, newer concepts. So that is a very important thing. What your question?
Okay, yeah. So let me rephrase that. So the question is, what is preventing the traditional companies from doing innovation? If you think that the D2C brands are succeeding basically because of innovation. And the second question to that is, are D2C brands doing the innovation, or is that onus of doing the innovation now shifted to the contract manufacturer?
Yes.
Which was a skill set which he was not expected to have earlier.
Yeah, so the D2C brands, they have the insights of the market. They do a lot of research online. They do have a lot of social media exposure. They come up with concepts and they leave the rest to the manufacturer. So these companies have a department called as the NPD, which comes to the manufacturer and asks the manufacturer what new they have to offer. And the manufacturer has to have a kitty ready or a range of products ready to offer to them. And they want conceptual products. They don't want the run-of-the-mill products. They don't want a shampoo or a cream or a body lotion. They want a product which has a distinguishing factor, which has something different, which will help them project the product properly online, which will give them an edge over the other products. So they leave it to the manufacturer. And also at the same time, they want a stable product. They want a product which should perform, which should be good in quality, which should have good stability, shelf life. They expect you to provide them ready data. So yeah, the onus comes onto the manufacturer. And all the manufacturers who are today willing to adapt themselves to this new scenario are probably the winners. And you see a lot of new age manufacturers here who have innovative products in their kitty, and a lot of D2C brands moving today who are wanting to take these products.
Alok, your thoughts?
Speed, agility are the two main things which probably were lacking with the I would say the older brands. What I generally feel is, yes, the ownership is slowly shifting on the manufacturer, and I would say it is something which is amazing, and it's a new learning curve for all of us. Is because gone are the days where you are supposed to only look at someone's formulation and just say that, hey, I can do this. Rather, I can give this. You know, so that's the difference between the do and the give. The main reason is, I would say, again, listening. So I'll give you 2-3 examples of these upcoming amazing brands internationally. Kylie Cosmetics, Fenty Beauty, right? Now, what are these? They are actually people who felt that there was one product that they wanted, which they didn't get in the market, and they said that, hey, I will do it. How will they do it? They knew what they want, and they went to manufacturers like us, and they were curious to discuss on that. And that's where I would say it again comes that experience of, oh, I think this works well for me, clubbing with the experience of the manufacturer and doing some magic into the business. Today, Fenty Beauty and Kylie Cosmetics also have a skincare range. So I would say it's a very amazing situation where, and recently what I got to know is Kylie Cosmetics was bought over around 40-50% by Coty. Why did Coty do that? Because where the recognition of the brand has reached, just because there was some differentiating that I will do, as I said, it's always going to be a foundation, whatever said and done. But just by using certain flower extracts, which gives you that story of an amazing person. And the other thing is, these people are advocates of their own brands. They promote their brand because they use it on themselves, which is the biggest thing which is missing with the predominant brands which have been there in the market for a very long time. So I would say a bigger brand buying out a brand which is upcoming, trending, and are feeling that there is going to be a synergy happening is the way that even in India it's going to happen. I think it's already happening with a couple of brands.
So will I answer your another question which you said, you know, there's already a bigger player like HULs of the world and all, and they have a bigger R&D team, why were they not able to do it? If I be honest and blunt enough, I think they were complacent about it. They didn't thought that the market will be so big for them, and eventually it has become big and they have lost the market share. I think being honest and blunt about it.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to try and open it up for questions if people have any, and then we'll quickly summarize. So,
Testing.
Hi, I just wanted to understand this from the customer's perspective. I believe a lot of customers today want sustainable products from the clients in the beauty range as well. So how is it that you are upgrading yourself or changing yourself to cater to that requirement?
That's because we've been into the industry for a good number of years, And over these years, we have perfected our products. Now the new age products that you see, they are mostly newer concepts, but the products remain the same. There are the same shampoos, the same creams, the same body lotions. Like a shower gel is a version of a shampoo. A face wash is another version of a shampoo. It's a surfactant. So the manufacturers understand that the formulation, the base formulations need to be stable, they need to be strong, and they need to be able to adapt to the actives and the newer ingredients that the D2C companies want. Like I said, if you are able to make a good surfactant which has a stable suspending active, then probably you can suspend anything into that and you can do magic with that product. And that would make all the difference to a brand. So companies like ours have been over the years developing newer products, stabilizing these products, and have a kitty ready with us, which we can offer to the newer brands with slight innovations, with slight tweaking.
Sure.
So whatever the brand owner needs can be offered to him probably in a couple of days or a week.
I wanted to understand it more from an ingredient perspective, as in more natural ingredients coming into your formulation. So how does this, how do you change your R&D requirement? How do you look into that aspect?
So I'll tell you, the natural ingredients that go into these products are in a specific dosage. You cannot expect a shampoo to have 90% aloe vera in it. So there is always a minimal percentage that can be added to the product. And the manufacturers know well how to stabilize these products, whether on the microbial part, or whether it is the preservatives that have to be added, or the formulation has to be good enough not to consume the actives. So this is all in the chemistry of the product, and the manufacturer understands how to answer these questions when a brand comes to them.
I would like to, for me, sustainability is not an activity, it's a thought process, right? So, and the thought process is definitely buzzing around in the industry. And as I said, it's not only in the personal care or beauty industry, it's throughout in fashion, in clothes. So my wife is into designing, so I hear her talking about sustainable fabrics, sustainable processes, sustainable thinking. Now, sustainable thinking can be from the angle of having a regulatory department, which a manufacturer never had. We always had a quality department. We always had someone from a quality assurance department, from a quality control to an assurance. Now, to ensure that there is a sustainable thinking and a process, there needs to be some department which takes the lead over there. Sustainability is about ensuring that manufacturers are ready to face audits. That's sustainability, because audits automatically brings a lot of, I would say, awareness and your shortcomings, both. So that thinking itself.
And confidence also.
And confidence, so if you accept it. So if you accept your shortcomings. But having said that, sustainability is not only about ingredient. Sustainability is not only about using a packaging which is plastic. I would say it's a thought process which brings out everything. Today, I would say more than a shampoo packaging, we should talk about the e-commerce plastic wastage that we see. When you order one small lipstick, it comes in a package like you have ordered a tabla. So it's really sometimes horrifying to see that at one end we are talking about reducing, or using something which is amazingly sustainable, but at the other end, the kind of wastage that we are doing is paradox, right? So for me, sustainability is a fantastic story. Sustainability is about, in fact, instead of using ingredient story, how much of damage are you doing to the water table of your country and to the globe is something that is more important to understand. So I guess these are the footsteps that we, at least as a company, are trying to follow and trying to kind of put this in our thought process and system rather than an activity, because activity is an outcome of your thought process.
This is a BSc graduate from heart, huh?
Bola na.
I think we're just all out of time, so I'm not going to take any more questions. Thank you so much, guys. I think it was very interesting that while the topic was about beauty and personal care, I think the fact that all my panelists ended up talking more about D2C brands and about the impact that these new age brands are bringing into the industry is just a testament to how successful these D2C brands are and how they are driving the agenda and will continue to drive the agenda for the next couple of years. Good luck, and thank you so much for your time as well as your insights.
Thank you so
Ladies
Thanks,
and
Samir.
gentlemen,
Thank you very much.
can we have a huge round of applause for our panelists on stage? We heard it from the experts. Come on, we can do better than that. The one sitting behind. We have a small token of appreciation for each of you. I would request Kamat, sir, if you could come on stage and do the honors, please. I'm sure they would love to get it from your hand. Present to each of them, sir. Come on, people, you want to put your hands together. Something you're going to remember, sir.
My pleasure.
Come on, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for them. Once again, a very big thank you to the gentlemen. That was an extremely interesting and interactive session. I'm sure we all enjoyed, and a lot of pointers we can take back and ponder from this session. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up next is our fifth and the last panel discussion of the day. The topic being the Fitness Brigade, growth and opportunities in the health and wellness space. We're going to start the session in the next 5 minutes, so please don't leave your seats. The next 5 minutes, we're going to start the next session. Thank you.